Good morning. The quiet period continues. Let's see if I missed anything and hit anything yesterday. Just saw that England result. That will give you a reminder about playing in friendlies. Well, these are the matches I starred in yesterday's review preview. Got the equaliser for Nigeria against South Africa. That was probably a trade worth taking, but the in-play stats were not strong for Nigeria, and that's what I have to rely upon. Just the 2 shots on goal. Throughout the match itself, just the 5. But they did get the equaliser. Dele Bashiru should have been a win. But all of the other big guns, the best ranked African nation, Morocco. Good result for Zambia, really. I thought they kept it nice and tight, my home country. And the opening goal for Morocco, Hakim Ziyech penalty. So a decent enough performance from Zambia that takes some heart from that. Ivory Coast, simple 1-0, but not quite in keeping, is it, with the pre-match odds? This is a problem we've got with these African countries, a large proportion of which are really poorly ranked in the FIFA World Ranking, so it's trust issues there. In Ireland yesterday, anything doing? Shelburne goal against Dundalk. Similar to the head-to-heads, wasn't it? With the tight head-to-heads. As I mentioned in the review preview video yesterday, could have laid the draw second half there. Derry City getting the win, and Waterford emphatic stuff against Sligo Rovers. In the Irish First Division, Cork City comfortable enough. Was it first half or second half goals there for Cork? 37th minute onwards, so flirting with being a 20-minute ruler, this one. As you could have cleaned up nicely. Again, in these review preview videos, I like to provide the absolute ideals if you're totally on your game and you pick up every possible angle in. In the Finnish Veikkausliiga, this was the play yesterday for me, the equaliser for HJK. We had 2 ways of dealing with this, and this suggested the goal-scoring problems continued. That equaliser was a penalty. I did pass it on to you, but sod's law, I started speaking to you at about the end of the 32nd minute in my Telegram message, and I had to delete it and do a new one. What a pity. I wouldn't necessarily have taken that draw on second half. It all depended on the in-play stats. But it was a 3-3 in the last head-to-head. But a lot of recent HJK matches have not seen that second goal from HJK. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Until today's opponents. So a tricky one. But that equaliser was certainly a way of entertaining that one. VPS, I would have sided with VPS here. Did Ilves score first? No, VPS scored first. Possible title hopes for VPS this season. Top of the league. Really good stuff. A new name at the top. Elsewhere, easy enough for Hacker against Mariehamn. And Inter Turku odds on as well. International friendlies. I keep talking to you about them. They're not must-wins. Look at this. Carnage. I would have laid the very late draw here if you looked at the in-play stats. Romania were all over Liechtenstein. But it's not a bust-your-gut winner match, is it? They don't need to win. 12 shots on, 12 shots off, 7 corners. Second half, 4 shots on, 8 off, 5 corners. One-way traffic. Look at this. England didn't need to win, did they? But this might boost those of you who fancy backing England in the Euro Championship market. I wonder if this has impacted on their pre-match odds. They're very skinny in the winners market, about 4.3. But this is what we're facing, you see. It's a huge change. Second half, completely different side. All of the balance from the first half is gone. Good result for Iceland, but not pressing any panic buttons there at all. This was an interesting example, Germany, because they're going to be the same odds against Scotland and Greece gave them plenty to think about, even scoring the first goal. Kai Havertz and is it Pascal Gross? That's an old name. It is Pascal Gross. Wow, 32. Still performing. Scotland a bit unlucky to have succumbed to a late finish penalty from the Ant-Man, no less. Why don't you just stand on him? So good stuff yesterday. No goal from Scott McTominay, but I do see this name, Shankland, turning up in international goals. And Hearts have had an excellent season. So Shankland has scored there. Well, all together, let's have a look at his internationals. Goals. Oh, Europa Conference League. Sorry, national team. Scored in 2 consecutive matches. Scored in 3 of his last 4. So, along with Scott McTominay, Lawrence Shankland might be on your anytime goal scorer list. So watch out for him. On to today. And again, it's holding pattern before the start of the Euros. We've got the World Championship qualifiers again. 1.05 Gambia against the Seychelles. Again, go to your FIFA World Rankings. Go to CAF for Africa. And then you can just get a gauge, although the odds are giving you a rather obvious gauge, aren't they? CAF show 4 rankings. So we've got the likes of Gambia against the Seychelles. So Seychelles, not even on this page. I'm not sure I can see the Seychelles, unless they're new to the roster in Africa. Gambia are 130th, so if you're a 1.05 shot, you're 130th. Your opponent must be a little bit pants. There's Seychelles, 197th in the world rankings. Boy, oh boy, they make Andorra look like Spain for those rankings. So that's the only real gauge I've got. You've got the pre-match odds, the expectation from Gambia, goal before half-time, 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. Real Oviedo and Eibar, 6th against 3rd in his promotion playoff first leg. Eibar 1 place and 1 point away from automatic promotion. They've got something to prove in these playoffs. They just slightly get the nod. 3rd against 6th. There was a 7-point gap between these two. So there was an obvious gap in form. Only 1 win in 6 away matches for Eibar, though, in their recent form. Contributed to not getting automatically promoted. So they might be a bit vulnerable on the road. Both teams scored in their head-to-heads, where the home team won in head-to-heads this season. So that's an interesting angle in. Is the home team going to win in this set of 2 matches? Finnish Veikkausliiga is next, and at least there's a reliable side in KUPS. Famous last words, of course. With VPS going top, KUPS will be keen to get the win today against Oulu. Ekenes and Guiniston, I've got a feeling these two are newly promoted, so this might be tight. Only 1 clean sheet for Ekenes. They do concede. They concede a vast proportion of their goals second half as well, so do remember that if it's quiet. Guiniston have conceded in all away matches. 70% of goals conceded have come first half for Guiniston, and the ones scored have come second half. They're unbeaten home and away against 7th and lower. And they're playing 12th today. Does that lean us towards what the market's gone with? And that's Guiniston and their away form. Not their away form, but their form home and away against 7th and lower, with both teams scoring. If that pattern continues, Ekenes are layable if leading. But this is hardly Bayern Munich versus Dortmund, is it? It's trust issues. KUPS, no such trust issues. 3 out of 3 home wins, failing to score only once. Both teams have scored in all bar 2 matches, so they might have to battle for the win today. 2+ goals scored, and that's perfect if Oulu score a goal. For Oulu, only 1 win. Came against HJK, that was a 1-0, so they might lurch towards this very defensive setup that got them the result against HJK. HJK themselves are normally title contenders, but they're not having the best of seasons. Both teams have scored in the last 5 away, so we might get a goal from Ulu. 3 out of 3 away defeats against the top 6. So this is one of the more readable matches today that I will certainly be on hand for at 3 o'clock. And you know all about the friendlies having been well advertised yesterday with that 1.1 favourite England down, 1.07 Romania not even scoring. So just bear those in mind. Luxembourg gave France plenty to think about in their previous friendly. They are on the improve ever so subtly. Luxembourg gave a good performance against France insofar as it took a while for the Frogs to score. 43rd minute. So we might see similar. Belgium, the lineup's just sumptuous. They're backable for me at 23 in the winner market for the Euros. The squad is just breathtaking. Very, very familiar names, particularly up front. Trossard's been scoring for fun for Arsenal. He's been scoring very important goals as well. Doku, he's a menace. Romelu Lukaku, the old veteran. Carrasco as well. Bakayoko. It's pretty good stuff. And then we get to the midfield with the likes of Axel Witsel, Vermeeren, Tielemans, and of course Kevin De Bruyne. Not too shabby, that young ginger fellow. And at the back, Jan Vertonghen, Meunier, Timothy Castagne. And in goals, I don't know too much about the goalies. Kaminski's the most well-known of the three, but it's a hell of a forward line in the midfield, isn't it? If they can just click. And they've got a new manager who's keeping unbeaten run. So watch out for that today. That would be one to eye. But you saw yesterday, as I alluded to, 1.07 and 1.09 shots going down. Spain against Northern Ireland. Get in there now. You get 11 at the back there now. Be superb stuff. Should be an absolute avalanche of goals from the Spaniards today. 1.09 suggests 3-0, 3-1 any other home. And I showed you this little tactic last time, didn't I? When you've got a shorty, probably I would say 105 or lower would be 5-0, 7-0, 9-0, or 4-0, 6-0, 8-0. It's the luck of the draw. You saw that with Spain against Andorra, 5-0. So just up it here. I would 3-0, 3-1, any other away score. Any other home score, sorry. That would be it for me. Denmark against Norway. This is a kind of a derby style match as well. This will be a good show of where Croatia are. I'm not sure if Luka Modric is playing or if he's retired. Again, this side is very backable. I think it was hundreds in the winner market for the Euros. They just tend to be there or thereabouts at the end, don't they, Croatia? So this will be a good gauge for Croatia against Portugal today. Very high in the winners market, Croatia. Switzerland and Austria tends to be a very defensively led Swiss side. They've got an excellent goalkeeper. Hammer, is it? Jan Hammer. He's the Dortmund keeper, I think. I think I've butchered his name, but he's superb. So please be wary. You've got ample lesson yesterday of why I keep telling you don't play friendlies, even though it looks very obvious. England lose. Romania failed to score against Liechtenstein. So you have been warned. Looking at the tennis yesterday, my little tactic worked in one match. It didn't work in the other. I was looking at the rankings because these were four top 10 players pretty much. I was looking at 5 setters, nearly got there here. This looked like a possible Casper Ruud injury concerns with such emphatic set victories. But it worked out well here. With a 2-1 lead for Yannick Sinner, Alcaraz had to win the next set to stay in the French Open, which indeed he did. With 2-1 down for Casper Ruud, he had to win the next set. But alas, Zverev, very clinical yesterday. Have a look at that last set. Well, That's not what you want to start, is it, Mr. Rudd? Losing your first service game and you're already on the back foot. Looking at the Zverev serve, looked rather comfortable, 0-40, but this was more like it, 30-40. But then back to comfortable service games, service holds, as you can tell there. So something up, I think, for Casper Ruud yesterday. But when you've got a world top 7 meeting each other, you're expecting a 5-setter. So we'd have been a little done by that one, but not necessarily that one. No French Open. Well, Swiatek and Paolini, is this the final? She's back to 1.06. Layable if she wins the first set, Iga Swiatek. Obviously, as Paolini is in the form of her life. Look at that. So she's she's fought back against Avanesian, who won the first set. But generally speaking, that's the only time Paolini has lost a first set against Avanesian. This could be the scenario if she wins the first set here today. Highly likely that Swiatek is going to come back. So as with yesterday, it's pretty much the 3 o'clocks for me. You've already had ample warning about friendlies that you've got to be very, very cautious and try not to trade them. Just retain some discipline, or at least take the insurance route yesterday. But the problem is, if England had equalised later on, you'd have made a loss in that particular match, which would have been hugely frustrating because you couldn't have gone +1. England +1 was about 1.4 when they conceded, which is far too short. So, as I say, I'm up and about today, but please don't expect too much, I'm afraid. But KUPS is the most readable match of the day. International friendlies, as Les Dennis would say. Have a great day. I hope to see members of footballtrainingprofits.com on Telegram throughout the day. Hopefully my timing will be a little better than it was in that HJK Helsinki match.